Hello, good morning to all of you. Wherever you find yourself, we do encourage you that as you start your morning with us, the AM show right here on JoyNews, you also start simultaneously not only watching your screens, but also getting interactive throughout the rest of the day. And if you start with us, it also means that you have to start with Facebook, JoyNews on TV, start with Twitter, where we have a handle at JoyNews on TV. We also do have our Instagram page, and definitely you can watch us live while you're transitioning from your home to the office or into town as we stream live through our YouTube channel, JoyNews TV. Well, myjoyonline.com is always available because through all these platforms or channels, it's where you can get all the best uploads. One of the uploads currently there is that Imani JoyNews Minority Parties debate that was convened the whole of yesterday evening into the night. One of the great things about this, especially just listening to the contestants, prospective presidential candidates, prospective presidents of our Republic of Ghana, is the fact that you can desire to aspire to dream. One of the great things about dreaming is also knowing that you have great intellect to be able to change your community. And so from Mary Kofi Ghani, as you can find on your screens, we also had Kofi Kranting, Onipa Yede, Osumtei, Dr. Asise, Sam Oforiampofo, among others, who were very much instrumental in trying to convince us that they want all of us to make do with them and do away with MPP NDC. Please don't do away with us. Stay right here because today we're talking football. It's a main conversation. We're talking Champions League. I'm a fan of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. I support Chelsea. But when it comes to the latter stages where we are semi-finals, getting into the finals of the Champions League, Chelsea is not part. But look, we need to get into the groove because if you don't have your plan A, you need to have plan B because football is something that we all do love. So as part of a great conversation, we also have some great highlights from Benedict Owusu. We'll tell you about the highlight of the money debate, but it is comprehensively the discussion of the stage where we are with the European Champions League that we're going to undertake or discuss this morning. And all of you, especially my good friends who tend to love the bet, etc. Look, this is where you have to stay tuned. We'll tell you which of the players you need to look out for, which of the timings, the tactics of the coaches, etc., that will be dominating the games for the rest of the evening. And helping us, as I've already told you, will be some of our Star Wars of the game, George Addo Jr., Gary Al Smith, etc. But we also will let you in on the conversation. I'm sure by that time I have my JC on. May not necessarily be one of the teams participating at this stage of the competition, but you also know. But we're also going to have some great times. A soft Friday we're bringing you today. And KD Bakes, he apparently is a very good musician. I want you to enjoy this from him. And when we come back, we'll tell you how we're spending some great time with some of his renditions in acoustics right here this morning. Logically, we start with politics. The New Patriotic Party has described former President John Dramani Mahama as indecisive, a man who lacks vision and with no core beliefs and principles. The party believes John Dramani Mahama must not be given the chance to govern this country again. The national organizer of the MPP, Awuku, at a news conference on Thursday, highlighted what the MPP claims are major flaws of the former president and why the NDC must be rejected at the polls.
What was so good about John Mahama's leadership that he believes today that he deserves to come back to continue? Is it the 5 years of doomsday? Is that the good old days that we want voters to remember? Is it the high rate of unemployment? Is it his decision to give over 75% of Ghana's entire deposit of bauxite to his younger brother, Ibrahim? Is it his decision to oppose the free SHS? Is it his decision to give a 4.6 billion interoperability contract to his friend Roland Agamburi, only for the MPP to come cancel it and do the same thing for $4 million. From $4.6 billion, we reduced it to $4 million. What is this good record that he's so proud of? Is it the incompetence that he showed by running the economy of oil-rich Ghana down the ground? Is it his indecision over the banking crisis that he himself had identified in the 2016 State of the Nation's address, but did not have courage to do anything about it? What is the good work that Mr. Mahama wants Ghanaians to remember with nostalgia? What were the good old days? Is it his decision to run to the IMF for a bailout because he could not manage the economy? Is it his decision to dish out inflated contracts without even knowing how to pay for it, leaving it for the MPP to come and settle the billions of cedis of arrears? Is it his decision to build 2 flyovers, Kaswa and Kwame Nkrumah Circle, at a cost much higher than what the NPP is using to build 4 big flyovers, Tema, Pokwase, Obechebilamte, and Tamale? Candidate Mahama says that his $10 billion pipe dream will create 1 million jobs. Mahama does not care about creating jobs for young people. In November 2016, candidate Mahama told unemployed graduates who were disillusioned, dispirited, and disenchanted that he is not a magician to put money in people's pocket. His former private sector development minister, the Honorable Rashid Pelpo, said that young people should go into the forest and collect stones and come and sell by the roadside. That is another form of job creation. They should also cut grass and come and sell. This was Mahama's job creation strategy.
On the other hand, the NDC is accusing the Electoral Commission of what it says is a calculated attempt to help President Akufo-Addo win a second-term bid. The party, which has been reviewing the just-ended voter registration exercise at a news conference in Accra, argues that the Electoral Commission underreported figures in the strongholds of the NDC while inflating those from the Ashanti region and other strongholds of the MPP. Elvis Efriankra is the NDC's Director of Elections.
Ghanaians will recall that during the registration exercise, we had cause to draw the attention of the Electoral Commission of wrong registration figures they posted in the Ashanti region and other places. These deliberate manipulation of figures, which has been described as mistakes, would not have been noticed but for the vigilance of our agents and executives across the country. The phenomenon is not only unacceptable, but very indicting on the Electoral Commission. Now, we have what we call the NDC data versus EC data. Ladies and gentlemen, we have discovered discrepancies in the data we collated and that of the EC, some of which the EC has referred to as mistakes emanating from reports submitted by their officers from the regions. Interestingly, while these mistakes are over-reporting figures in our opponent strongholds, they are under-reporting figures in ours. In the Ashanti region, for instance, the EC has so far reduced figures they initially published by over 40,000 following our diligence. There are more corrections to be made to the Ashanti figures that we shall engage the Electoral Commission to correct the anomalies. In the OT region, the EC underreported the figures by 10,127 at the end of phase 2. We drew the attention of the EC, but they continued to publish the wrong figures. At the end of phase 4, the EC underpublished OT figures by 14,124. So EC had 22,109, and NDC had 226,109, and the NDC had 240,233. Our continuous engagement with the regional EC office has resulted in a current deficit of 1,079. So as we engage them and draw their attention, but there's still a deficit as at the end of phase 6. We expect nothing short of total correction of the figures from OT, because we are all getting the figures from the same source.
Away from election-related stories, the Nigerian Union of Traders Association Ghana, NUTAC, has expressed shock at the Ministry of Trade and Industry for locking up nearly 50 shops of its members in Accra. And what they describe as questionable circumstances. Now, a task force set up by government commenced operations at Baah-Nuakoh on Wednesday, and it was to assess licenses of foreign retail businesses. They initially had a peaceful activity, which turned confrontational when some of the traders felt their rights had been violated. JoyNews PSA Nanaya Osafo has more in the following report.
It was not what the task force on foreign retail trade verification had expected this morning as they visited the Kwame Nkrumah Circle area in Accra. Peaceful cooperation soon turned into resistance and the situation got out of hand. The problem? The special task force set up by government and led by the Ministry of Trade and Industry had arrived on the premises with security personnel during morning hours to lock shops. This followed the forced lockdown of Nigerian shops in Baah-Nuakoh some 3 weeks ago over illegal retail claims. Government had warned the Ghana Union of Traders Association of going beyond its authority, and in collaboration with NUTAG, the Nigerian Union of Traders Association Ghana had created the task force to ensure assessment and inspection of licenses. Apart from business operating permits and approved requirements, foreigners do not have the right of retail trade under Section 27 of the Ghana Investment Promotion Act, Act 865. Both Nigerian traders and Ghanaian government were aware of the exercise today. But according to the NUTAC president, Chukwumeka Naji, his association had not been made aware of any shutdown exercises.
I even called Prince this morning when I started hearing it, and he told me they are coming to lock shop. They are not coming to examine people. No, he told me they are coming to lock shop. That is this morning when they have arrived there.
And what is your reaction?
I was surprised because this is misinformation. Our information is that they are coming to check document, the level of compliance.
Many of the traders did not understand why they allegedly had the required documents, yet had their shops locked.
What are ways where you people are coming to verify and know who does not pay or who doesn't pay? So when you come, I bring my document. They say they're not here to check their document.
We want to comply according to what the association do. This is the document. See the names of our members. Now they are coming again.
See the paper, everything is here with me. What do you want me to do? I'm not a thief. I'm doing legitimate business.
Among major requirements were the license to operate. But even this alone is not enough. PRO for the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Prince Boateng, explains.
Compliance will mean that you must show proof that you have registered with the Registrar General's Department, that you have the requisite residence and work permits to operate in this country, that Ghana Standards Authority have checked your goods and they have approved same to conform to our standards. That per the GIPC Act, you have invested $1 million in the business entity that you are operating in this country, that you have paid your taxes. So that is what we are here to do.
He further assured force will be used if cooperation failed.
The way forward is that the shops will be locked whenever. If it is because we thought that they were going to be cooperative, as they were cooperative with us at Baah-Nuakoh yesterday, for which reason we thought that we shouldn't come with a number of police or national security people. We thought that people were going to be disciplined and law-abiding. Now that we have seen that they are ready to combat us, I assure them that we'll come here with full complement of security.
For the Nigerian Trade Association, it is time for the Nigerian High Commission in Ghana and higher forces to intervene.
What I have decided to do is also inform the Nigeria High Commissioner to Ghana of the outcome of what we have seen on the ground. Based on that, they may send a delegation with us to meet the minister who is in charge or anybody that will represent him. And if the whole decision cannot be taken here, we take it to Abuja to go and tell our father, who is His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari, the situation his brother and his friend, Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, have made to his people. This thing shouldn't be anything anybody should heard his voice. It should be something we must settle amicably. All for one! All for one! One for all! Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right.
Away from Accra, the Jurapa Municipal Chief Executive, Christian Bombanye Amadou, has urged the people of the area, especially the vulnerable groups, to take advantage of the seeds provided by World Vision International and venture into dry season farming. Now, she says there's no need for the people to migrate to the southern belt of the country in search of non-existent jobs when opportunities to improve their well-being was right at their doorstep. Christine Bombanye Amadou made the statement when World Vision donated some agricultural input to 200 farmers in the Jurapa municipality. Rafiq Salam brings us more from the area.
World Vision, since it started operation in the Jurapa municipality 6 years ago, has been partnering with the Jurapa Municipal Assembly to improve on the living standards of the people through the child sponsorship and food security and household resilience programs. They partner key departments in the assembly, including the Department of Agriculture, Health and Social Welfare, to improve on the well-being of children and households who are most vulnerable at Duru and Tiza. Over the years, World Vision has provided capacities in kind and knowledge to over 18,579 farmers in the Jurapa municipality. The latest donation of assorted farm inputs to 200 farmers is to boost farm yields in both the main farming season and dry season farming of vegetables and fruits. Jurapa World Vision Area Programs Officer Francis Mensah noted that the farm inputs had been carefully chosen to reposition the most vulnerable farmers who, as a result of the advent of COVID-19, has been disempowered to appropriately manage their families.
We are aware of the COVID-19 pandemic, where individual farmers have found it very difficult to generate their own income as a result of the COVID-19. Even be able to generate their own income to buy their farm inputs is a problem. So World Vision sees that very, very necessary that at this very time we come and support these farmers with these inputs. For the very fact that we are aiming at having bumper harvest, increase in food productivity to improve upon the living standard of our children. And we strongly believe this is going to go a long way to support them, to improve upon their livelihood.
The items donated were 39,612 Ghana cedis, included 1,000 maize, 200 liters of sunflower, 1,525 watermelon seeds, and 100 pieces of cutlasses. The rest are 200 bags of urea and 400 bags of NPK fertilizers. Jurapa Mayor Christian Bombanye Amadou urged beneficiary farmers to take advantage of the program and go into dry season farming rather than migrating to the southern Gulf of the country in search of non-existent jobs.
The seeds I here include watermelon seeds and others. These are things that will encourage the dry season farming. When the rainy season is over, we have a number of dams around the municipality. We can farm around these dams and then we'll improve upon our lives during the dry season. Instead of leaving our family and running down south to look for greener pasture and come back during the rainy season to farm. This time around, we have everything around us to stay back during the dry season and do our dry season farming, particularly vegetables. So once again, I thank World Vision for their constant support.
Chairman of the Jurapa Municipal Farmers Network, Yakubu Karimu, thanked World Vision for a kind gesture.
This fertilizer, it will help us, now it's just in the season. So as it is in the season and they brought it to us, we are very well. So we will use it as they show it to do so that we can improve our living standard.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam, Jiruba.
Last story, and the Ghana Police Service is asking the public to provide information on recalcitrant persons who may seek to foment violence in a bid to disrupt the peace the country currently enjoys, even as we get ready for the December polls. The Volta Regional Public Relations Officer of the service, Prince Dugbache, says such individuals would be severely dealt with. He made the appeal when an e-commerce platform, Samdik, presented some personal protective equipment and some electronics to the Volta Regional Police Command.
The items included a tabletop fridge, 2 sets of split-room air conditioners, 2 televisions, a water dispenser, 2 ceiling fans, and 2 packs of sanitizer. The presentation forms part of the CHY Mall Whole Service Center's corporate social responsibility aimed at enhancing the working environment of the police in the Volta region. Dixon Akahu is the manager of the Samdik Service Center in Ho.
We decided to donate these items to the Ghana Police Service because they are our backbone. As security personnel, they are in charge of the country. And then we were here a week ago to look at the environment, to see the items that will be needed for their work. So we decided to donate to them. We are actually into e-commerce, online buying, and selling, which we've added what is called a new retail aspect, which enables consumers also to become profit makers or gainers.
The Volta Regional Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Police Service, Prince Dugbache, appreciated the gesture by the company. He, however, implored the public to continue to support the service to enhance policing in Ghana, especially as the country gears towards the general elections.
We are just done with the voter registration, and we want to assure the public that we are prepared. But those individuals or groups of persons who may have intentions to foment trouble during these upcoming elections, we want to assure them that we will not leave any stone unturned. We will go full length to arrest those who are involved in any bit of trouble, and then ensure that those who are law-abiding will go about their normal duties. The group that has come to give us this donation, I think, is a demonstration of good partnership, which is what the police always calls for. So we ask for such gestures. Now, we work with information, so we'll still say that the public should not forget to always remember to give us very credible information that can lead to the arrest of those who are involved in any form of crime, so that the region and the country can be a safe place for all of us.
Samdik Service Center is aiming to replicate such donations to other public and private institutions. Fred Kwame Asari, JoyNews, Ho.
Well, it's when we have to take a break, but we told you we'll be having KD Bakes right here in the studio. And of course, please make sure you stay tuned. We're doing some acoustic, some renditions of his songs. KD Bakes, make sure you go check him out, KD Bakes, on his relevant social media platforms, and make sure you join us as we have some good time. But next, we will be discussing the newspapers. After that, Benedict Owusu will be coming, and then we're looking at matches towards the end of the UEFA Champions League, and who definitely, that's the team tipped to be winning the UEFA Champions League. Yeah, today we have a black mug. You know, this is, I love this mug. It's not branded. Good friend.
What are you saying, Roland?
It's not branded.
It's my mixture.
We have lemon. I see the seeds in the Lipton is the mix.
It's green tea.
Honey day inside.
Yeah, man.
Honey. Honey day inside.
Charlie.
Well, debates. I listened to his song. I seem to like it.
You introduced him to us.
Yeah,
We want to explore him, but I'm also fascinated because he's a professional nurse as well.
Yeah, so very professional.
There's another side to a frontliner.
Yeah,
a healthcare frontline. Who is singing? Does he sing on the ward? I'm interested in knowing who does he sing to.
I can imagine he's treating people. KDB is treating people and then singing. Good morning. Oh, child patients will go recover fast.
Welcome to the review segment here on the AM Show. We've got the newspapers. We will make time and visit myjoyonline.com as well. So I've got the Graphic, the Finder, the Daily Statesman, the Daily Dispatch, the Ghanaian Times. Roland would take us through the rest of the papers like he likes to put it. So let's begin traditionally with the Daily Graphic newspaper, front page. Banner headline, President opens 75 greenhouse farms. Similar facilities up in Akomadan and Bojase. Business proposals flood one district, one factory secretariat. Seek permits before construction. That's the Yana urging developers. Yana Abukari II, the overlord of Dagbon. Let's check out what's in the center spread. Chief Justice swears in 39 judges, admonishes them to be fair. The Chief Justice, Justice Kwesi Anini-Yeboah, yesterday swore in 39 newly qualified circuit court judges and district magistrates with a call on them to be fair in the administration of justice in order to build a formidable judiciary. He said the justice delivery system was crucial to Ghana's democratic process, hence the need for judges to be impartial. The rest of the story there, another story that got parliamentarians debating in Parliament yesterday. Military gets nod to purchase vehicles. Parliament has approved an $86.1 million loan agreement between the government and the Israel Discount Bank Limited to finance the supply of armored vehicles and ammunition for the Ghana Armed Forces. The facility made up of a $74.1 million buyer's credit guarantee from the Israeli Foreign Trade Risk Insurance Corporation Limited and a $12 million commercial loan will help equip the military to support internal security operations. The vehicles will also be deployed for UN peacekeeping operations when required. And as part of the debate on the floor, there was a comment by Muntaka Mumbarak, who said that because they're using the vehicles for peacekeeping purposes, where they purchase the vehicle from will be crucial, because sometimes in trying to keep peace, if initially I thought I didn't understand, but I thought about it again. The source of the vehicle could also either promote peace or make the situation worse, if you like. It makes sense if you think about it deeply. But I mean, we've purchased already, right? So he was saying, for instance, that if we're using it internally in the country, then he wouldn't have said anything. But the fact that we'll be using it for peacekeeping purposes, which means it could travel to other places depending on where and the relationship they have with the source where the vehicles are coming from, that may also be an issue.
Where's the source of
this? This is Israel.
And it has a problem. It has a, let's say if we're
not necessarily, it depends. I mean,
sure.
I guess for diplomatic, well, I'm not saying I agree with him, but I think it was a very important point that he made. And yeah. So the rest of it, you know, in terms of the conversations around...
well, you know, on the other hand, if you take a look at, you know, the issues that the US seems to have, the West seems to have with Huawei, etc. So I can imagine if you're using accoutrements or equipment belonging to one of the powers of the world, and Israel definitely within the geopolitical space, you look at the fracas with the Arab world, the Persian Gulf, etc. Definitely. Let's say you're taking Israeli armored vehicles or some other military vehicles to peacekeeping in Lebanon, or you're sending it to somewhere in Oman, it's problematic. Maybe to the people of Oman. But if we're looking at it from that angle, yes. But I'm not sure that these vehicles are that sophisticated army.
Oh, they are. Listen to a bit of the details.
No, I'm not saying to the point where they would raise issues that could trigger
in terms of
that could trigger international disputes. If let's say they were rocket launchers or something of the sort.
Well, you never know. Sometimes the very little things that you think people won't fight over, people get upset. Well, there was other conversations in terms of the figures. You can catch up with it, but. The defense minister said, well, for purposes such as what they're using these vehicles for, and you know when it comes to the military, it's not everything that they say on the floor.
They're discussing the open,
yeah. All right, back page of the Daily Graphic, Tema to have new fecal treatment plant. So Sewage Systems Ghana Limited, a subsidiary of the Jospon Group of companies, has secured a 76 million euros credit facility to build a fecal waste treatment plant and also expand the sewage management system in Tema in the Greater Accra region. The rest of the story on the back page. There you have it. And then if you just go down, you see this one. Energy Commission to introduce 7-star ratings on electrical appliances. How many stars do they have now? 5?
Yeah.
So all electrical and electronic.
Buy some of the best equipment up to 5. The best I've been able to get. That's by rated 2.
Hey, Roland! You be chisel. You be chisel. So currently some appliances on the market, especially refrigerators and air conditioners, have their ratings.
But the reason why they have the rating, the reason why they have the rating is for CFC purposes and also pollution in the environment, the ozone layer and all that, so that they are environmentally friendly. And that is why we need to adopt these. But I believe that when we're having the bigger conversation, we have to talk about affordability. Because the higher the rating, the more expensive
the product is.
But over time, you look at the opportunity cost, that's good savings.
And also the energy efficiency bit as well.
So that's why I'm saying that's good saving.
You may be buying it at a high price, but eventually you'll be cutting down costs. So it may, in the long run, help.
So I noticed that the 2 that I bought the other time,
Roland, take it up.
About a fridge, you know, fridge. Into person, Mr. Sam, who was a fridge? My Sonny use over 7.
Roland,
Charlie, come mop. So they mop every time. But I'll change it over time.
No, you should change it now. Go to like 3 or 4.
But you talk rough. Okay, let's continue.
Let's do the Finder. Front page of the Finder newspaper. New register. EC saved 173 million Ghana cedis. Cuts bloating, reduce minors and foreigners.
You say what?
Can we say that in absolute terms now? Because the register is not a complete register. We can't say we have a register.
I think it's
because the EC.
I think it is a complete register.
Is it? Because the EC chair itself.
It has foreigners and minors, but they will be clean. It's a complete register. The old one we had was a complete register, but it had credibility problems.
So we still have an ECOWAS register. We're trying to make it a Ghanaian register, apparently.
Why did we even go for it then?
So the debate continues. Of course, Imani and Co saying that, this was a useless exercise in the first place. We told you so, and here we are. There are other people who are also asking the questions of, for instance, if I've been challenged, my nationality has been challenged, what am I going to use to prove? Because if I have Roland Walker, if I went to register with a Ghana card, on what basis would you say that I am not a Ghanaian? Because I have the Ghana card.
No, that is why when you listen to Dr. Sribo Kweku, who is Director of Electoral Services of the Electoral Commission, he says that they are depending on us, the Ghanaians,
to prove our Ghanaianness,
our discretionary power, to come and say, Mama,
it's a Ghanaian.
No, it's a Togolese. But she happened somehow to have illegally acquired a Ghana card to do the registration or to be guaranteed into the registration database. So please annul her eligibility to be a voter. You understand? Okay. So they are depending on Roland Walker to come and say that Mama Usabwaji,
it's not a Ghanaian.
Your name is Togolese. So it presupposes that you're not supposed to be in the register.
Okay. Well, if the Ghanaian could easily do that, then we will not have a lot of dead people on the old register, for instance. Because if the Ghanaian would easily go when the register is exhibited and they'll go and say, oh, this person I know died.
And you know the other scenario I also painted, I said, if the Ghanaian was willing to use their discretion and patriotism to be able to bear witness that somebody was not a Ghanaian, why didn't they do it in the first place when they were bearing witness or to guarantee for others to be in the register?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the Ghanaians form part of those who represented the parties as party agents.
Yes.
As guarantors,
yes.
As Electoral Commission officers at the various registration centers. So all of them had Ghanaians there. And they didn't oppose anything. They said they are challenging. But even the challengers...
What about challenging your opposing?
But even the challengers also include normal Ghanaians who inputted onto the sheet wrong data. So it doesn't necessarily... So you can have somebody in the central region, like the NDC prospective candidate for the MPship, who also imputed wrong data. So he's among the 30,000. So you could have normal Ghanaians who really, if you look at their papers, you don't have any problem.
Okay. But
so it's not only just people who are minors, foreigners, etc.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I get
but
you.
How do you look somebody in the face in West Africa and say it's a Ghanaian, apart from that person being maybe a Fulani or maybe...
You know, when this whole thing goes down, we have to come back to the table and now use our heads, not use the emotions when there's no election staring us in the face, so we can come back again and think again. You got what I mean? Because this whole challenge, like I can just wake up and say, I don't think you're Ghanaian, so I'm challenging you. There shouldn't be like a blanket thing, like anybody can just wake up and challenge you. And because of that, we will hold on with your card. Let's go through the process until... we have to come back and reform some of our own regulations so that we can't have just anybody, just for opposing sake, just say that I am challenging because you're not a Ghanaian. So let's hold on.
Because, Mama, when you speak to some of the party agents, they said that's what happened. There were deliberate efforts to frustrate people.
Exactly.
As part of the strategy of some of the parties to do that. So you get to... And I also experienced it in a registration center that I went to do my registration.
Yeah, we have to come back when there's no election.
So I also have one more question. I know that I'm wasting your time. One more. So it means that the National Identification Authority has been doing some wrong things. So there are people who are holding a national ID card who are
not Ghanaian. Well, but they're the same way there are people who have the passport who are not Ghanaians. We see people arrested all the time.
I think that we have to redo the
It's a whole systemic thing.
No, so we have to redo it.
Well,
we should recall all passports, all national IDs, and start again.
Okay, now I have to run through the rest of the papers. Let's do the Ghanaian Times. Front page of the Times, big boost for vegetable production. Ghana gets largest greenhouse farm in West Africa, apparently. Okay. Government to support SSGL to undertake nationwide sewage projects. Over 50 shops owned by foreigners closed down. NDC says we don't trust EC to compile credible voter register. And then on the back page, Sanitation Ministry donates vehicles for refuse collection, water supply, scrap tax on sanitary parts, hope for future generations, urges governments. The Daily Dispatch front page, apart from Greater Accra, Central and Western regions, MPP likely to win if they stop NDC from getting 30% votes in Ashanti, according to Benefson. Rawlings in bed with MPP government and NDC, according to Professor Jampo. We will support more waste treatment plants across the country. That's Osafoma for the senior minister saying that. Roland, let's see the papers you have.
Okay, so quickly, let me just do the Daily Post. The Daily Post has on its front page, and this one is dominating or has gone viral. Social media. Social media is good, and you get to gauge what's on people's minds. Because what's in your mind is at their fingertips. So it's on the click of their fingertips, so to speak. So Daily Post says, cheap. Akufo-Addo steals Mahama's greenhouse project and names it after himself. It's a frontage of, according to this caption, Mahama's greenhouse project spotting. And we all do know that the disagreement is that the Youth Enterprise Supports which is the Mahama version of now Akufo-Addo's NEIP. According to this,
so is this a party project or this is a state project?
It's a state project.
Okay.
I
know the way they say steals. And
so let's do the Democrats. We don't tend to do these papers very often. So Democrats. The National Democrat says minus foreigners on EC roll. Okay, we're just talking about this. Arrest, prosecute Jim Mensah for causing financial losses. And this coming from Esiedun Ketia, typical of Esiedun Ketia. That's General Mosquito, the General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, says prosecute. Because according to the story, you said, or she said, that one of the justifications was that we had foreigners and minors. Now you undertake the whole exercise and there are still foreigners and minors. Yeah, it's like you got F and you went to rewrite and you still got F, but you use the F to make entry into university.
Is it Uncle Benefsin who taught you this one?
I'm just drawing some analogies there. So we have other stories also on the front page of the National Democrat. We were not brought up to insult people, Professor Nano Pukwajiman. And you know, they've been getting a lot of jive, especially the Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I love his sort of politics, even though sometimes it's a bit overboard. But there's also not a reciprocation from the opposition NDC. And their solution is that they're not going to insult. All right. Don't step foot in our palace. Tema traditional council to Carlos Ahinkra. And Carlos Ahinkra is my member of parliament, Tema West. And apparently this is what news is making rounds about him. Okay. Let me do the Ghanaian Observer to create balance. So Ghanaian Observer says,
what is to create balance? We're reviewing the papers we have this morning.
Sami Awuku exposes why Mahama cannot fulfill his promises. I read the story. Good politicking in there. This electioneering. So expect everything. Okay, so we have a minute more.
I thought we could do myjoyonline.com so we can talk about the debates yesterday, but apparently not because our time is up. You can go to myjoyonline.com. There are plenty of stories there for you to feast and catch up. If you missed the debate yesterday with the independent candidate, they gave us some options. We had a few of them standing out. You can catch up their thoughts on corruption and plenty other matters on myjoyonline.com. We've got sports coming up.
Well, Joy UCL is on this evening on Joy 99.7 FM. Is Bayern Munich up against Barcelona? Big game in the UEFA Champions League. And of course, yesterday, Leipzig from Germany defeated Thomas Partey's Atletico Madrid to book a place in the last four of the competition. And by virtue of that, they will play Paris Saint-Germain in the semi-finals. More UEFA Champions League to come. But firstly, on the local scene, board chairman of the club licensing committee, Dr. Baah-Nuakoh, wants Kotoko to be the thumbprint for other football clubs in the country to emulate. Now, according to him, the Porcupine Warriors have the required personnel to be a model club. More in this report.
Kumasi Asante Kotoko is arguably one of the biggest clubs in the country that command the huge number of supporters. Many believe that when there is patronage for games involving Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra House of Oak, the success of Ghana football would be on the rise. Board chairman of the club licensing committee, Dr. Baah-Nuakoh, claims Kumasi Asante Kotoko should be a guide for other teams in the country.
Kotoko should be the guiding light for Ghana football. And I think all the other clubs will follow when Kotoko decides to lead. And I think the board and the Nana House team should take this as a guiding principle, that Kotoko should want to be the leader as far as Ghana football is concerned. And in doing so, we expect Kotoko to do the right things. I have a bit of a history in the last few months relating to fines imposed on Kumasi Asante Kotoko. I believe that this will be a thing of the past if Kotoko decides to do what is expected of it. And I have no doubts in my mind that this current board has the acumen and the ability to ensure that Kotoko takes up the leadership mantle in Ghana football.
Hypothetically, there are claims that Kumasi Asante Kotoko have got about 8 million supporters. Kwame Baah-Nuakoh believes the Porcupine Warriors should be the stepping stone for the success of Ghana football.
One of the main objectives of the licensing board at the FA is to make sure that the clubs are run professionally, the game is professionalized, commercialized as well. And I believe what we are witnessing today is a step in the right direction for arguably the biggest club in Ghana. I would like to say that as an FA board, we believe that if Kotoko succeeds, the Ghanaian game also succeeds. Because Kumasi Asante Kotoko has the numbers and has the tradition and the records.
Kotoko is the record Ghana Premier League champions, having won the competition 24 times.
And Dr. Kwame Baah-Nuakoh will be on tomorrow's edition of the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM from 12:15 to 2 p.m. So do make a date with us. Well, away from the local scene, Leipzig overcame a typically cautious Atletico Madrid to reach the first Champions League semi-final just 11 years after the formation of the club. Now, after a poor first half, Dani Olmo headed the German side ahead, but Atletico substitute João Felix leveled the tie from the penalty spot after he had been fouled in the box. Now, Atletico, of course, chasing a third final in the last 6 years, seemed content to take the lead in the one-legged tie affair in Lisbon to extra time and sat back for much of the game. And for the first time in the history of the club, they are through to the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League. The last time Arsenal played in the semi-finals, Leipzig had not been formed. And now, here they are, you know, with history yesterday, making history yesterday after beating Atletico Madrid. So as the commentator wrapped up in the game, their next game is against Paris Saint-Germain, and that will be on Tuesday night. Well, talk of games that will be played. Arguably, the pick of the quarterfinal ties is coming up this evening. Barca take on Bayern Munich for a spot in the Final Four. And Barca, of course, overcame Napoli in the quarterfinals to book a place at this stage of the competition, while Bayern finished off Chelsea home and away to ensure that they will be in the last 8 of the competition. Big game tonight. There'll be live commentary on Joy 99.7 FM. You have to join my colleagues George Aldi Jr. and Gary Al Smith for the best of commentary when it comes to the UEFA Champions League. And of course, the Leipzig victory over Atletico Madrid has been trending on social media because going into the game, a lot of people predicted, you know, a win for Atletico Madrid by the fact that, you know, they eliminated defending champions. Liverpool went to Anfield to dazzle there. And of course, looking at the players that they have and the quality and how they played their games in the UEFA Champions League, there was no way, you know, one would have predicted that Leipzig was going to beat them. But this is the UEFA Champions League, and especially when it's a one-leg tie, anything can happen. And yesterday we saw that UEFA Champions League feeling in that game where Leipzig won. So on Tuesday, they are up against Paris Saint-Germain, but tonight is the big one. It's Bayern Munich up against Barcelona. All right, so of course, as I mentioned, it's been trending on Twitter and people have been talking about it. And it's all about Leipzig, and said what? Red Bull gives you wings. And there you go. Also, pictures of the game, an artwork of the game. Jurgen Klopp laughing at Atletico Madrid, and you know the connection, as I mentioned. They eliminated Liverpool from the Champions League. And I saw an interesting tweet yesterday where someone was asking, Liverpool fans, how are you feeling after seeing Atletico Madrid, you know, knocked out of the competition? DJ Khaled's picture is, I can conclude Diego Simeone's Atletico is jinxed. On that note, we end sports this morning here on the AM Show. Thanks so much for your company. We are back on Monday with more highlights from the UEFA Champions League. Until then, keep watching Joy News. The AM Show continues after this short break. Don't go away.
And it was a great debate, great highlight. We had strong personalities who had a mind or views of their own as to how they thought we need to push the strongest political parties, as we've witnessed in our Fourth Republic, from their front line. We're talking about the MPP and the NDC. And so we had the minority parties debate, which started with the independent candidate, also making great input as to how they thought, if they had the reins of power, the affairs of this country should go. And so we again bring you a recap of the event. Then we will speak to a head of the political decks we have right here, JoyNews, Evan Spencer, do some great reviews and expand the conversation further as to what it bodes for the future. Do take a recap.
At Asisawa, in the eastern region of Ghana, I'm a JSS2 dropout. I know most of you may wonder my business here as a JSS2 dropout. But let me tell you one thing. Ghana here, it seems most of us, we always go to school to learn how we can be able to speak the grammar, and after we successfully learning how we can be able to speak it well, we go back to the Englishman to come to plead with him to come and help us fix our economy. I think it is time we listen to some of us that we can be able to offer an alternative to fix the economy. That is why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mari Kofigan, your turn.
Good evening. My name is Mari Kofigan. I'm a chartered accountant, a development expert, and a lecturer. Every Ghanaian watching this today has one of the biggest decisions to make. And that decision is to choose someone other than the NDC and the NPP to be able to lead this country to a position where we can have one that works for all of us, not just a few. My intention here today is to be the one that leads this country in that regard. It is a decision we are all going to have to make, not just for ourselves, but for generations yet unborn. May God help us in that decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We join Dr. Thomas Vazum at this point. Your 60 seconds starts now. You have to unmute yourself, sir.
And a real estate appraiser.
The connection to Dr. Tom Asise. You have to unmute your microphone so we can hear you via Zoom. We'll try again. It appears the connection is not working to Dr. Tom Asise. Would rectify that.
We will move on to our first substantive question. And I will start with Mr. Samuel Ofori Ampofo at podium 2. And question. The 1992 Constitution gives enormous powers of appointment to the president. Over the years, successive governments have been plagued with what has now come to be known as family and friends government. How would you fashion out a governance system that avoids nepotism in favor of merit and inclusion? Mr. Ampofo.
Thank you very much. Yes, we all know that since 1992, we've had the problem of the presidency having all the executive powers to control every sector of the economy. The president has all the powers to appoint more than 4,000 executives, and that has never been the right thing for Ghana. And if I am given the nod, I am going to run this country with minimum governance and save as much resources and funds as much as we can for our national development, so that we will never again go under the dictates of the IMF, borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. Never again under my leadership.
Mr. Kofi Koranteng, how would you fashion out a governance system that avoids nepotism in favor of merit and inclusion? Mr. Kofi Koranteng.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say it again.
How would you fashion out, same question, how would you fashion out a governance system that avoids nepotism in favor of merit and inclusion?
Okay, so our system of bringing people in is absolutely wrong, Evans. The first thing we need to do, we need to employ a director of public prosecutions, okay? Work directly with the Attorney General's office so they could oversee all crimes, everything in terms of process with the country. We need to employ also a public service commission who does the hiring of the police commissioner, hiring of the Auditor General, and also the hiring of the Electoral Commission. And we need to have a stringent process where people have success models that we go by when people come in, so that they go by specifically that. And when you have a Public Services Commission who is employed to do that, who's independent, they make sure that happens. And then you strip away the power from, of course, the president. The way you do that is once you get in as a president.
The time's up. Mr. Carlobo Morgan, same question to you, 1 minute. How would you fashion out a governance system that avoids nepotism in favor of merit and inclusion?
Thank you so much. I am of the opinion that the 1992 Constitution has given so much power to the president. He appoints tons of people. And naturally, when you have such a power, you would like to bring your closest family. The temptation is so high. When I'm president, I'm going to review the Constitution, expunge the indemnity clauses, and these are things that we are talking about. I will propose that we have a president and who appoints a prime minister to run a government all over the place. That is what we know. In the French-speaking countries around us, we have that. So the power of the president will be limited to some extent. So when that is done, you make sure you bring people of high caliber. Meritocracy should be the order of the day. No matter what. If your brother is qualified, he goes on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Onipayo Dosumtai, same question to you, sir.
Hello. Okay, what I'll do is, I think when you read the Constitution, in Article 78, there are two offices. The Constitution created two offices, the legislature and then the executives. But Article 78 gives away that a legislature, the executive, which the president is supposed to take more of the cabinet ministers, the ministers from legislatures. So one person is having in two offices. I think that's the reason why we are facing this kind of nepotism. So what I'll do is I'll amend Article 78. So it separates the legislatures from the executives. I think that will help. This is my point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Onipayo Dosumtai. This round ends on this question to Mr. Mari Kofi Gan. Same question. How would you dismantle the system and make it meritorious?
I can't say anything different from our manifesto, which is now public. One of the things we have said in that document is that even though the president has the power to appoint as many as the Constitution allows him to, one of the things that I have decided that we will do is to set up committees. It could be standing committees, it could be permanent committees, but committees that involve people from all walks of life, the professional sectors, the judiciary itself, and other elements of our society to put out names to the president, hopefully from Ghanaians home and abroad, to ensure that we break down that element of the president having to choose everybody that he knows. For me, this is a balance between the president choosing and the people of Ghana choosing.
Thank you very much. I would go now to Zoom and attempt to bring in once more Dr. Thomas Sise. Dr. Thomas Sise, if you had a question, how would you fashion out a governance system that avoids nepotism in favor of merit and inclusion?
So it does appear we do not have Dr. Thomas Sise at this point. So we'll start the second one with you, Mr. Kofi Kwanting.
Before we do that, you have 30 seconds for rebuttals if anybody wants to take advantage of that. On this same question, before we move to the second round of questions, you have the floor. Rebuttals on the first question of demolishing nepotism in favor of merit and inclusion.
Absolutely.
You kindly put on the microphone.
It's on.
Yes.
Oh, okay, here we go. So again, like I was saying, so what you do is you're going to have a success model. The success model has to be followed. You have a public service commission that holds everybody to this success model. The president cannot come around this public service commission to make decisions as to who to pick. You have a success model, you follow it. If you don't meet it, you don't get in. And then when anybody goes outside of the Public Service Commission guidelines to hire somebody, they pay the consequences.
30 seconds is up. Anybody else want to take advantage of this? 30 seconds for a rebuttal? If not, I have a question, quick follow-up. So, again to you, Mr. Marek Kofi Ghana. You say you're going to set up a committee and they will be responsible for presenting a list to the president to select from. You run a campaign. Campaigns are very expensive. There are individuals who would put in money into your campaign. And as they say, there's no free lunch. What's your policy going to be for those individuals who will run your campaign, especially in a country where we have the rules governing political party campaign financing isn't watertight, who will come around after you've been elected and demand favors, including putting their friends and others in positions of power?
I did start by saying that this is a balanced game that we're playing, and so there has to be balance. One of the things I want to say very quickly is that there is a balance between what I have said I will do in terms of putting up a committee and people who we already have identified who are professionals who qualify themselves to be put in certain positions. And so there's so many positions to get filled. I am saying there has to be a balance between those I bring on board and those that the Ghanaians choose.
Same question, follow-up question to Mr. Samuel Furian-Pofo. You started this off and you said you run a minimum governance. I think what you meant, if you clarify what that means exactly, when you said you run a minimum governance, just to quote you, what exactly do you mean by that?
Thank you very much. What I mean by that is, as we all know right now, the MPP government runs a government of about 120 or 10 or 15 ministers. I am going to run a government that will appoint only 40 ministers.
There, but we also do know that there's a lot of there was a lot of social media interactivity when this was being streamed, and even if you go to Facebook JoyNews on TV, you get a lot of comments also to the upload there. But we have to broaden the conversation further. And one of the moderators of this, the head of the political desk right here at JoyNews, Ivan Spencer, is joining us and will give us also what his own perspective based on his feedback and the observations as he monitored based on the questions that he asked, what the responses were of the various individuals contesting or likely to contest as independent candidates. And Evans, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Roland.
And what was some of the picking points, you can say, some of the points that you noted throughout those 2 hours that you moderated the show about these individuals who intend contesting?
Well, I got an impression, and when I was going into this, I was expecting to hear something different. I heard a few things different. For example, a lot of them, when we asked them the question which ministries would they do away with, some of them said, and that was really to my surprise, that they would do away with the sanitation ministry. I had not thought about it before because, again, sanitation is such a big problem in Ghana. And we've all thought about it as one of the problems that you needed to deal with if you had a dedicated ministry with a machinery behind it to fix it. But they thought that wasn't the approach, because almost every government has had a sanitation ministry. And if you look at it, they've had sanitation ministries, and yet the problem persists. And they thought that is a ministry they will take off, they will do without. And so the follow-up question that my colleague MFA asked was, okay, so if you take away the sanitation ministry, what would you do? How would you still deal with the filth? And then they came up with suggestions such as they will put it under a department or allow the local government structures to deal with the problem, because the sanitation is a problem best addressed at the local government level, and removing the center problems that we have currently, because we have the sanitation ministry that then tend to dictate to the assemblies where the filth really is as to how to use the monies to deal with it. And sometimes the money then doesn't get there because the decisions about who gets the sanitation contract is being made at Accra, when of course the problem is known to the people at the decentralized level. I thought that was one of the interesting things that came up that I heard from them. Also, yesterday there were a few very interesting things. For example, on the free SHS, one of the candidates made a point that Ghana will like too many free things, and very soon we can expect one political party to come and tell us that they'll give us free wives, free girlfriends. That was said in a light-hearted conversation, but he made a very substantive point as well about how he would instead make tertiary education full fee paying, which I thought was very bold and daring to say in a country where any attempt to introduce a policy like that will agitate students and bring it and get into trouble. And yet he was bold enough to say, one of them said he's going to run a government of just 10 ministries. And I'm like, goodness me. And he went through the list of the ministries and thought, this is what my government is going to be. These are ideas. Whether they can actually do them, of course, we'll leave it to the judgment of the good people who watched last night.
There seemed to be a certain, I don't know whether refrain, of those who seem to gravitate away from the MPP and the NDC politics to always say the state of governance, when we have either of them in power, is always not the best for our country. But they don't seem to prefer some of the best solutions. And I got this from a lot of the responses on social media. Did you also have those cues as well?
I mean, so definitely. You get a sense also listening yesterday that the candidates, I mean, the aspirants, the independent aspirants, are acutely aware of this. And so their front isn't divided. And it came across very strongly last night that this is a bunch of individuals with some really exciting ideas who recognize that the two dominant political parties have taken over the space. Of course, I mean, since 1992, nobody else has won an election in Ghana if you're not NDC or MPP. And there is a sense in which, instead of tearing themselves apart, they should have a certain uniformity or something close to that in their thinking, so they could make a dent in the fortunes of the NDC or the MPP. And so a lot of the thought that they expressed were not necessarily divergent, opposed views. A lot of the thoughts agreed. And I have heard in the rumor mill that, in fact, they have formed a united front. And with the ultimate goal of coming together behind one of the candidates and choosing a vice from within themselves and putting one common independent face on the ballot for December, so they can rally and go around the country and campaign for the person and hope that that person will challenge and make an impact when it comes to the elections. And so that is themselves, appreciating that these two political parties, they believe, have failed. And you heard a lot of that, particularly from Kofi Kranting, who kept on attacking the MPP and the NDC, and that the way forward is to come together with a unified alternative.
Well, I've also been joined, I beg your pardon, I've been joined also by Dr. Kwame Asante. Excuse me. He is with the Political Science Department, the University of Ghana. And Dr. Kwame Asante, you listened to all of them at this debate yesterday. One thing did come up, that as we've always known, we have a problem with our constitution. It's too much executive rulership bias, and also very much prone to the executive having their way all the time. But we also do know that it's a conversation that the two main political parties have toyed with while in opposition, but have always not been able to do something about while in power. Now, how do we take that discussion forward, especially now that it is agreeable among giving these independent prospective candidates that is the issue?
Morning, Roland, and good morning to your listeners. Let me say that I did not follow the conversation at UPSA yesterday, but at least I have an inkling as to some of the issues that they talk about. So I think straight away we can move on. Yes. Given the question you just slapped on my face, it is clear that the executive dominance of the political system is clear and beyond doubt in this country. One way that we wanted to deal with this was through the referendum, so that some of the powers of the president, i.e. powers to nominate or appoint people to become district chief executives and whatnot, that we will be able to take that and then reduce the powers of the president. But that did not happen. I'm sure that the conversation is not dead yet. We can still revive that and bring it forward so that that aspect, because we are going to take what, if you look at the DCs, MMDCs, there are a lot of people. And if that power is given to you and I, as it were, we'll be able to reduce the executive powers. There are other aspects of the executive powers which the constitutional review touch on. I think we can go back to it and look at it and then address it head on.
Now, the head of our political desk, Evans Mensah, did indicate that in the rumor mill is the related conversation about how we could have the amalgamation of all these individuals, and they will be likely the kingmakers, so to speak. But we also do know that when you talk about the minority parties, they've not gotten more than 3% since 1992 at the polls. It's even been dwindling over the last 2 elections. So what are we talking about here? What can they do?
Yes, I think it's also another interesting aspect of the conversation. We have been doing some few projects in other media organizations, i.e. the TV3. And one of the things that we have chanced upon, or we have discovered, is that, and it's in line with what people are saying, the other parties, it is about time that they've got closer to one of the main parties if they want to be relevant in the Ghanaian politics. Why am I saying that? They have not, as you did indicate, they have not gone beyond 5%. On the average, since 1992, they have hovered around 4.47%. And if you look at the vote that they bring, our work recently indicates that if you want to look at the upper limit in terms of quantum of vote that they can, get for this 2020 election, they cannot go beyond 1.5 million. When you put all of them together, not even a single party. So you realize that their strength on the political plane is very insignificant. On top of this, if you want to push it to the stronghold, the swing region, where you want to see their effort at helping or, showing their presence in the swing region, they don't exist at all. For instance, one of our work indicated that if they really want to make a show in the swing regions for the 2020, the highest they could go is around 1,400,000 in terms of quantum of votes that they will get if you consider certain scenarios that we'll put across. So it tells you that this country, strictly speaking, is a two-party state where only two parties, the NDC and MPP, who have the political wherewithal to win power and form government. The other parties are nothing but dwarf parties. They've been dwarfed by the dominant parties. So if they really, really want to make their presence felt in the political system, they need to tie up their apron strings with one of the political parties so that they can make a case. Because if you look at the dynamics, if you take their 4.4% out, then you are likely to have a winner at round one. That we are not going to have a second run-up. And the main issue here is that anytime parties, you have minor parties around and they perform within their average of what I have said already, the election is pushed into a second round. But once you don't have them, straight away you have what? A first-time winner of the election, and we will not have the trouble of going for a second round. Remember that anytime we go for a second round, these elections in this country is being driven by donor funding. Donors pay for most of our things that we do. So anytime we are pushed into the second round, then we are handicapped financially. We need to turn our attention to them for them to have a bailout so that we can do things. But that is not good enough, because the day that these donors will hold us to ransom, we are in constitutional crisis. So I think the conversation must move towards that direction as to what we do, the other smaller parties, what can they do so that they can also make themselves significant in the political system, and also to help the country from being pushed to second round where we need to cough up money and support the system.
Well, Evans, what's in the basket for this Imani JoyNews partnership with the minority parties?
So now that the independent candidates debate is over, there's going to be a next one. This is going to be the minority political parties debate. And the reason why we had to do this first, the minority political parties themselves are now in the process of selecting their candidates, etc. And of course, putting out a manifesto policy, because there's a strict criteria that Imani had developed for qualification to be part of the debate. And so we would have that. Definitely also, we are not stopping in convincing the two main political parties to join a final and third debate between the two, the umbrella and the elephant, hopefully just before the elections. In the absence of that third one, we would have evening encounters with these two main political parties and their policy leaders to engage on some of the key issues going forward. I mean, for us, our theme for this year's election is simply to be useful to the electorate, and everything we could do, we can do, to be useful to the electorate and help them make an informed decision on the day of the polls on December 7 is what we'll do.
Well, I'll come back to you, Evans, for the last word. But Dr. Asante, for your last question before you leave us, these debates, how do they enrich the discussions in themselves? If you look at what has transpired in our democracy in the past, and then what usually happens also in the more developed democracies?
Yes, we are part of the equation. There's no doubt about that. We always listen to them with rapt attention to be able to see what is it that they have under their sleeves that they want to share with the general political system of the country. But we have seen that because of the party system architecture, you don't feel their presence so much. I believe that Ghana must move towards a situation where we have to find a way constitutionally to see whether to either maintain them or let them align to the main political parties so that we can have a two-party straight away. But that is a tall order because it requires a lot of constitutional re-engineering as far as the architecture of the electoral system of this country is concerned. But it is a very interesting academic debate which is going to go on for a very long time. But for the players, we want to see what they bring to the table. And that is the smaller parties. We want to see a situation where one day somebody can come out very nice and convincing ideas that the public may want to gravitate towards that person to see whether there can be a change of the current state of affairs. That is my hope. But I'm not sure that we will get there because looking at what other parties are doing in terms of their performance during elections is nothing to write home about. So I believe that in no time, if they don't find alliances with any of the major parties, they'll fizzle out within the political system.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Dr. Kwame Asante, political science lecturer with the University of Ghana Political Science Department. We'll let you hold on a bit, Evans. We'll be joined by Folikom, who is a member of the communications team of one of the prospective independent candidates, Kofi Ghani. And thank you for joining me, Foli. Now, what's your own assessment of what transpired Thursday evening?
First of all, I'm a part of the media team, so that's the correction. Yesterday's event was a very good one, especially because it seeks to expand the narrative on political discussions and especially the political options we have given out to the people of Ghana. And we want to commend highly Imani and especially multimedia for coming on board, because most of the time what the listeners or the viewers have is they are limited to the options that the media presents. So yesterday's debate was a big step in the right direction, and we think there should be more of that in terms of giving more options to the people of Ghana, and so that everybody can have a varied choice, and then we can move on from there. So that is the first impression about the debate.
But it means your head or candidate or would-be candidate is looking forward to such related platforms, not only with other groupings, but especially this great combination we have, Imani and JoyNews.
Could you say that again?
It means that, or does it mean that your candidate is looking forward to such other platforms with us to make sure that he's able to articulate well his views?
Definitely. You know, because it's only when you engage people that you get to understand more of what is going on with them, and also you get to present options that are available from your end, so that they have the choice of choosing or understanding better what you have on the table. So definitely we're looking forward to more of these in different forms, with different groups of people, with different demographics. So it's a great thing.
Well, thank you very much. Folikom is a member of the media team for Kofi Ghani, one of the prospective independent candidates, who also took part in this great debate, the Imani Africa JoyNews Minority Parties debate. All right. Evans, so we're looking forward to some other platforms as well. If the third one, as you said, doesn't take place, we're going to have individual encounters with the parties. How do we rope in the general public, really, in some of these, so that the questions then, perhaps maybe if we have some of them, could directly be put to the candidates in the first place, as part of this great coordination? I think that'll be it for now. But it's been some great time. We had some great individuals contributing to this debate. And if you get onto social media, those getting accolades, not by any sense of bias, Kofi Kranting, and then also Mary Kofi Ghani getting some great accolades there. But you will get more of these subsequently, this great analysis that we've just given you on subsequent programming right here on the channel. You also get the upload of the live event, of course, on JoyNews TV, our YouTube channel, and you can get all those links also on myjawline.com. But in the meantime, we have to take a break. We'll come back, we'll have more for you right here on the show.
With some plantain, and I did meditate with the sun them. I don't miss a ticket. So when I pray for the hustle, and make my mind day for the hustle, and make money come from the hustle, make a shower blessing from the hustle. Hey, everybody wanna have the best thing, yeah. Everybody wanna have the good thing, yeah. Everybody wanna have the favor, yeah. If God know entire world, good day, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, yeah. Some they live like by tactics. Some people do this with practice. My nigga hit him up, we do this for the party. My nigga listen to me, really what the fact is. Hey, I like it how we now, man, I come nowadays. What do I need to we want them nowadays? So when I pray for the hustle, make my mind day for the hustle. Make money come from the hustle. Make a shower blessings from the hustle. Hey, everybody wanna have the best thing, yeah. Everybody wanna have a good thing, yeah. Everybody wanna have a favor, yeah. If God know entire our good day. Good morning, good morning, yeah. Good morning, good morning. I don't like tea, so I was a cocoa with the plantain. Oh, I bag and watch it with some plantain. And I did meditate with some them. I don't mess up a ticket. So when I pray for the hustle, make my mind day for the hustle. Make money come from the hustle. Make a shower blessings from the hustle. Hey, good morning, good morning. How are you doing? How are you doing? Hey, how are you doing? Good morning.
Is that my good morning?
Good morning.
Hey. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning, good morning.
It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah? So what does KD stand for?
Okay, it's an acronym actually. K stands for King. D stands for deserving, B stands for boundaries, A stands for across, K stands for kingdom. And so in all, it's king deserving, boundaries across, kingdom, empires and states.
Really?
Yeah. So
where'd you get that from?
I think it's just being a build up, you know.
Yeah.
With the help of a friend, Trailer.
Okay.
Yeah, he helped me.
So what's the name that your parents gave you?
Wisdom de la Bruku.
Wisdom.
Wisdom, yeah.
And how long have you been performing?
Well, I started music in 2008.
2008?
2008, yeah.
Oh, okay. What kind of stages have you been on? Like, who do you perform to? Where have you been performing? Where have you been doing your music?
Okay, I have performed inside Ghana and outside Ghana.
Okay.
Inside Ghana, I've been on Mercedes-Benz African Fashion Show.
Oh.
I've been on Vodafone Ghana Music Awards performance, pre-jam in Volta region.
Okay.
I have also in Johannesburg. I've been on a tour, actually personally for my music. Shout outs to BKS Records. They put me on that project.
Okay.
In the last 2 years.
So you've been in the game for a while.
Yes. Yes.
Nice, but you're based in the Volta region, I understand.
Yes, I am. I'm based there. I work in Richard Novati Hospital.
As a nurse?
Yeah, I practice there.
You know, when Roland told me this one, I was like, okay, so do you sing to the patients or what? Do you perform on the ward?
Well, not exactly, but we know that there are some patients that need music as a therapy, especially or psychotherapy, you know. People suffering from anxiety and depression, sometimes music therapy works perfectly for them.
Okay, so have you ever sung to any patients?
Of course.
Really?
Of course, yes.
In the emergency?
Oh, not in emergency room.
Okay.
you can't do that in emergency room because the cases, they are not so stable for you to, yeah.
Okay, so let me understand though. So what is music to you? Because you're a professional nurse. That's what you're trained to do.
Music is a gift of life to me because it gives me this whole reverberation. It gives me this whole new energy, you know.
Okay.
And it's a part of me that I can't take out. It's like you ask me to choose between food and water, and you cannot do without either of them, you know.
Absolutely.
Food, air, and water, you cannot do without any of these ones. So music is like that to me.
Okay, so is this your look in the hospital?
No, please. No, please. I'm okay, let me correct this. I'm on leave, so...
No. I'm not even talking about now.
Okay.
I'm just interested because this is the
this
music.
Is not my look.
This is the music guy who is
look.
also the professional nurse.
Yes.
So I'm just curious to know if you carry your hair like this, for instance, on the ward.
No, please.
Okay.
It's not allowed, you know.
So do they know that professionally you're a musician?
Of course, they know. They
Wow.
know I perform for my hospital when they have anniversaries, you know. So.
Okay. How long have you been practicing as a nurse?
For 3 years now.
3 years.
3 years with my national service all joined together, yeah.
You know, the focus has been on health workers because of COVID-19.
Yeah.
So have you been out of the hospital all this period, or you've been working within this COVID times?
I was working in the hospital because I work in the emergency room, so I've been in the hospital all this while, you know.
Okay. So how's music? I mean, particularly around this era, how are you finding things?
Well, I find it's working for me actually, since I don't really have the time to, you know, be all over the place, you know. It's okay for me with regards to the online promotion stuff, you know, having to do virtual concerts. It worked perfectly for me when you cannot be out there on outdoor projects, you know. So it's perfectly fine for me. Some other artists complain. I know it's affecting the music negatively, and in a way such that, for instance, shows cannot go on anymore because of the crowd. You know, we need the social distancing, and we have a range for a particular number of people who are supposed to be in a building at a particular time. So for that side, it's not really good, but. Talking about the digital market, it has given chance for people to sit back, relaxing at home, and listen to more music.
So that's working for you, right?
Yeah, it's working for me.
So let's talk about albums, your collections. What's up?
Yes. So I dropped a single which I'm actually known for, Carry Me Away. I dropped that in 2017, and after that I decided to drop an EP called the Rise EP.
Okay.
And the song I sang this morning, Good Morning, is the first song on the EP. It's a 4-track EP, which is doing so well on the stores. Shout outs to my team who's been supporting me. And today I'm dropping a brand new song called Asanda.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm dropping a brand new song called Asanda. So just after this show, they can go check it out on the digital stores.
Hang on. What's the meaning? What's the story behind it?
So I wrote this song from a life of somebody. That I write my songs from the lives of people, from my personal life and from what I see around, you know. So this was a story that a brother gave to me, you know, about how he has this girl who loves him so much regardless of whatever he does, you know. So
even
it's
when
like,
he cheats.
Yes. So even in the song I included it.
Are you sure it is not you?
No.
But it is someone.
It's somebody. It's a friend.
So you're dropping this one today, but can I hear just something, just because you sang Good Morning and you're on the show, just a little bit of something?
Of course.
Okay. So here's a brand new one that's dropping later today.
Yeah, today.
Okay. Can you introduce, what's his name?
He's John.
Okay, John. Let's start it.
John plays with me.
Let's do it. So the title of this one again is?
Asante.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never seen a girl like you. I swear you too fine, baby. The looks in your eyes, they smell that you my morning star, I swear. I never knew that we could make it this far, cause I'll be the one who's making all the little troubles. Tell it to you now, right off in my girl. I just wanna say in love with you. Nothing could put us under, nothing could put us on. I'm in love with you, with you. Nothing could put us under, nothing could put us under. Yeah. Every time I cheat, now you forgive. That every time we fight, now me the cause. But every time I cry, you pray. Why you left me so? Thought I was a killer with a hard figure. Love catch me, I don't sober. This thing is a strong thing. This thing is strong. I don't know it is in me. I go now I see love melts me. I don't know waiting this girl do me. She do me. Yeah, she got a kiss to my heart. In love with you. Nothing could put us under, nothing could put us. I'm in love with you, with you, nothing could put us under, nothing could put us. I've never seen a girl like you. I swear you too fine, baby. That looks in your eyes, they tell that you my morning star. I swear, yeah. Never knew that we could make it this far, cause I'll be the one who's making all the little troubles. I tell it to you now, proud of you, my girl. I just wanna say I'm in love with you.
Are you?
Ooh, nothing could put us under, nothing could put that. I'm in love with you, with you, yeah. And nothing could put us under, nothing could put us under.
John, what's the name of the girl? Why are you laughing? But I love your voice. You sing beautifully. You know, like this. Oh, like put all your troubles away and just enjoy. Yeah.
You have to.
Did you learn how to sing, or this is just something that came naturally?
It came naturally to me. My mother and my father, they sing in the church choir.
Okay.
And so I think it's some sort of a family thing, and I've been singing in the choir since primary school.
You still sing in the choir?
No, not yet. Not
hey.
anymore. No. It's not as if I've.
It's not deliberate.
No.
Hey.
So yeah. So I sing and I write songs too.
Okay.
For myself and for other artists out there.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I have people I write songs for in Ghana, in the UK, in Canada, US.
Wow.
There are people I write songs for, yeah.
So how is this this career, this musical career, progressing for you? What do you see in the future going forward?
Well, I can only be looking out for something bigger than this, because everybody, as a human being, when you're working, you know, on something, you expect it to grow bigger and better. So I'm looking in the future. I just want to be all over the place. My music should be everywhere. I want to have this fan base that is so large that will show me much love, and I want to be in a position that I can give back to the society the love they are showing me. You know. So that's where I see myself.
So you're based in Sogakope, because that's where.
Yes, I'm based in Sogakope. That's
okay.
I work there.
What do you do for the people of Sogakope? I come from Angloga.
Oh, that's what we're hearing.
Let's go.
Oh, okay. Okay. I serve the people of Sogakope. I mean, on the health side. And the people of Sogakope and Volta region as a whole, Sogakope, Volta region as a whole, they are proud of me as an artist coming up from there. And I know they are watching me right now. Shout outs to my people from Volta region, Sogakope. I love you guys, you know. So I think that's what I'm doing for them.
Okay. All right. Now that you asked me about Angloga. No, you didn't ask about Angloga. No, you didn't say that. You did. Of course. Madonna Fogbo.
That's beautiful. I'm glad to be on a spot like this with somebody I can relate with, you know.
You pay, man. You pay. So, you know, like when you're walking on the streets, are they able to identify you? Like, this is our guy?
Of course. Yeah? Of course. I can proudly say that there's no part of Ghana I've been to where I haven't met somebody who doesn't know me.
Okay.
Yeah. People know me, yeah. People know me.
Nice. We'll be getting a lot more performances, so why don't we get on it? Maybe you can give us a last performance.
Sure. Sure. Just don't carry me away.
Introduce it, please.
This song, it's the song people know for me actually, and the love for this song is called "Carry Me Away."
Carry Me Away.
Carry Me Away.
Wait, hang on. Do you have a theme for your songs? I know you say the songs you do, just telling stories about other people and your own experiences as well. But is there a theme? Are you deliberate about the song choice?
I'm not so deliberate, but I feel I'm writing out my life, you know?
Okay.
As a musician, if you're a writer, the best way to communicate feelings out there to people, to relate with people, to connect with them, is to write out your life, because there are so many instances which are not coincidental, that things that you write out there, it turns out to be that people are going through the same thing.
So then they can relate.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I see that you're a love person, aren't you?
Okay.
It's just a question I asked. Like, is there something wrong with the question, John?
Well, God is love, so God is love. So if I'm a love person, love songs are the best-selling songs, you know. So
I love love songs.
Well, that's good.
I'm not judging. You know.
No.
You just said you're writing experience. So I just figured, you know, maybe you're a romantic.
Of course, I'm full of love.
Okay, listen. Because I want you to carry us away, just tell us how people can connect on social media, how they can get through to you, and then you can give us the song.
Okay, so you can find me on all social media platforms at KD Bakes. On Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's KD. You can see it on the screen, KD Bakes, everywhere. And please, after this, I need you guys to please go and check out my brand new song, Asanda. It's amazing, produced by Omo Ajibade, mixed and mastered by J Watts and Mr. Lord. I need you guys to stream this thing for me. I need this on the chat, you know, just like you did for my EP.
Okay.
So,
all right. Thanks to you guys. You came with John and who else?
I came with John. I came with Good Life. And I came with Kobe Keys.
Okay.
I actually was supposed to be playing the keyboard. But,
Kobe Keys was supposed to be doing the keys. Unfortunately, we couldn't do the keys, but shout out to you, Kobe Keys.
Watch out for him.
Okay, man. Take us away.
All right. Let's play this one, kid. Yeah.
this I love it. If not me, I going to call it no no. This thing is sweet, no. This thing they cause trouble. It make man manya, make man they fumble. Yeah, it carry me away, love. It is cut out my brain, oh. Mama, I'm in trouble. Carry me away, love. It is cut out my brain, oh. Mama, I'm in trouble. These days I love you to come on. And that be the reason why plenty broken us to come on. Sister, take your time, don't rush you. It be the real money, no before your panty. Love is patient and kind of. The right woman will go follow you for money. Yeah, no what she do. Oh, yeah, no God. But it can make man yama. It can make man fumble. No what she do. No, yeah, no God. But it can make man basa. Yeah, it can make man fumble. It carry me away. It carry me away, love. It is cut down my brain, oh. Mama, I'm in trouble. Carry me away, love. It is cut down my brain, oh. Mama, I'm in trouble. I don't wonder why them they call this a love it. Love it, oh na na. Ooh, yeah.
And you do know that we always have been making sure that when you're about to start your journey, you get the right sort of tips to start that journey and get to your destination safely. And we're talking about our main campaign, also ArriveAlive, which has also brought to the fore the things that need to be done when it comes to road safety. We've had some of our best supporters so far, making sure that, well, we are able to bring you all the stories, the great content related to that. And then critically, Bedrock Insurance, one of the foremost insurance companies right here in Ghana, has been supporting us throughout the period. And we have the chief executive right here in the studio. But it's also to get great insight into why they are with us, but also what they do. Albert Ison Gansa is the chief executive, and he's here. Good morning to you, Mr. Gansa.
Good morning, Roland.
Oh, great.
I'm sure I can call you Roland.
Yeah, well, Albert goes for you
Albert
as well.
Is fine, yeah.
Fantastic. But look, let's talk about why the road needs to be safe and why Bedrock thinks that it's an important aspect of how we live.
All right, so I'm not an expert when it comes to transport issues and stuff like that. But I think we all see what's happening on our roads. If you look at last year, for instance, if you look at the statistics from the authorities, we're told that there was about 2,300 deaths on the road. Now, this year alone, in the first quarter, we're told there have been about 300 to 400 people who have died on the road. Now, this carnage has been going on for a long time. And sometimes there's this funny narrative where people think that it is witches that cause road accidents, especially when we get to festive periods like Easter and Christmas. Now people say that the witches want to drink blood. Sometimes I wonder whether it is only Ghanaian blood that the witches are interested in.
The question.
the truth of the matter is that it's a human issue. It's attitudinal.
Yeah.
And so if it's attitudinal, we need to deal with it by educating people, constant education. So at Bedrock, we were thrilled when we heard that the multimedia group was embarking on this ArriveAlive campaign. And so we thought it was a fine opportunity for us to get involved. Also because at the end of the day, business is about people.
Yeah.
If there are not people, you can't have business. Yeah.
Now, in order for all of us to know that we're creating that synergy or the symbiosis for us to stay safe in the environment, it will mean that Bedrock also would have some plans for the very people for which we want to do business with. make sure we create the content for them to be safe on the road? What would they be? What products, services, some interventions you have to make sure that everybody's safe?
Bedrock Insurance is a general insurance company. Right? Sometimes when we talk about insurance, people think insurance is just insurance, but in insurance, we have life insurance, so that takes care of people's persons, funeral and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we have general insurance, or what we call non-life. So Bedrock is a general insurance company. And being a general insurance company, we have a gamut of insurance products. Now, I may put that quickly into 3 categories.
Fantastic.
We have motor, we have home, and then there is business. So when we talk about motor, it is motor for both individuals and corporate entities. And by motor, we can talk about motor comprehensive, we can talk about motor third party, we can talk about motor third party fire and theft. Now that is one. The second I can talk about is home insurance. So people have their property, they have invested money in that, and anything can go wrong. I mean, there have been instances where people have lost their properties, and then that was their lifetime savings, all right? So we provide protection against losses that might be occasioned by fire, by landslide, by earthquake, by flooding, and even burglary. Not only for the property, for the contents of your home. So you might be living in a property which is not your own property. So you might be a tenant in it. But with as little as 100 cedis a year, you can have insurance protection for the things that are in your home, your belongings, the things that...
Because your safety is very important.
And your safety
should be
is important.
Your priority.
Correct.
And you make sure that it happens.
We make sure that happens. And also we have insurance for businesses. All right, so there's liabilities that people may be exposed to, i.e. businesses. We have workmen's compensation, we have product liability, we have insurances for those in the engineering and construction firms. So we have what we call the contractors all risk. And then we have various kinds of bonds, so performance bond, advance payment bond, and bid bonds, and the like. We offer all these, yes.
Now, for all of us to get access to you, it will mean that we have to get onto various platforms. You have platforms for which we can access you?
So there's a Bedrock Insurance, so that's our handle. You can get to Facebook, we are on Instagram, and you can get to our website, www.bedrockinsurancegh.com.
Okay. So the handles on social media are Bedrock Insurance.
Correct, yeah.
Great. Foremostly, if as one of the leading companies in the industry, you would say, look, we want to make sure it's not only because we're supporting you on the road, but we generally want to see that your life is resting on a good bed rest. What will be your surest assurances to those out there?
So for us, we always say that in insurance business is about creating value for people. So at Bedrock, we say we are creating a values-based organization. And a lot of people have said that they take insurance policies, and when there is a claim, the insurance companies are
becomes problematic.
It becomes a problem.
Dilly-dallying.
They are dilly-dallying. They are pointing them to small caps, or they're looking at the technicalities. We don't believe that that is the way to go, because insurance has got a bad name already, not so good. I mean, the NIC is working so hard to change that narrative, and we are also working with the NIC. So for us, we say that the way to deliver value to a customer is especially when they've had a claim. When they've paid premiums and now there's a claim, it's an opportunity for us to deliver value to the customer, because we believe that when somebody has a claim, they're traumatized, all right, and they're stressed out. And so if an insurance company will want to go about settling the claim in a very slow manner without sympathy and empathy, then you as it were add insult to injury. So for us, we believe that the way to create that value is in a time when they are in need, we respond promptly to them. And that is why we've come up with what we call the Bedrock 3 before 3. Now, I'm sure when people listen to Joy FM, they hear a lot about the Bedrock 3 before 3. So it is simply that any claim which is up to 3,000 cedis reported before 3 p.m. is paid the same day.
Promptly.
The same day.
Allah.
You get it.
I love Bedrock.
And that is what you must love it. And we believe that
you said the handle is Bedrock Insure.
That's Bedrock Insure.
Okay, continue. Yeah. So you say?
Yeah, so I was talking about the 3 before 3. So the 3 before 3 is all claims up to 3,000 reported before 3 p.m. paid the same day. And you know, we've not been around for long though. All right, let's say we've been around for 3 years. But if you went to the NIC's website, you would see lodgement of complaints against insurance companies. And when you go there, you will see that we have about the best record.
Yeah.
We have about the best record when it comes to being true to the customer. Yeah.
Now, I have to let you transition out of the studio, but before I do that, I'm itching to ask you this. Look, we're in a period where coronavirus is affected. The vice president, I listened to him just 2 days ago, was saying that we needed to use this period, create the right sort of opportunities for you as one of the foremost young companies for the industry, insurance. How have you taken this to make sure this becomes another stepping stone to achieve greater heights?
I think that if there's one thing that the onset of Corona or COVID has taught us, it is the need for companies to digitize their operations. That is the way to go, because it's not easy these days to meet people physically and have interaction with them. So I think it's also an opportunity for insurance companies to be innovative and create convenience for their customers. So that's why we are constantly reviewing and improving our digitization process. So people can get onto a short code, for instance, buy insurance, download proposal forms, download claim forms, and if they have a claim, they can report their claim online, they can buy insurance online. So that is the sort of thing that we're doing. And I think a lot of businesses are going that way now. It's all about digitization. So if anybody does not go down that route, then they're going to be left out.
Well, we wish you all the best. And we also want you to always support us with our ArriveAlive campaign.
Yes, so we believe that we can partner with multimedia and create, it's also another way of creating value for people. And as I've said, business at the end of the day is about people. And we say at Bedrock that we protect the things that people truly value. And they start with lives, for instance. Yeah.
We protect the things that
people truly value.
That's a great tagline.
I'm going to send you a proposal form, right? So
don't worry.
Yeah,
I'm already in.
So that you can start and then your viewers can follow suit.
I tell you. Well, I have to say that I'm excited that you passed through the studio, especially as knowing. And at Bedrock Insure, that's their handle on Twitter, but also same for Facebook, Bedrock Insure.
And
make
Instagram.
sure Instagram also you're there, but they also do have their website, just goes by the name Bedrock Insurance. Easy does it. Make sure you check them out. And I just checked out the CEO right here in the studio, Albert Eisen Gansa, and he's a fine man, just like his company is. Make sure you check them out through their website, bedrockinsurance.com. But in the meantime, we have to take a break for the latest showbiz news. When we come back, we'll bring you an interaction Caddy had with the man himself, Tick. Used to be called TikTok. He's still riding on in the industry as Tick.
Hi guys, good morning. My name is Kadi and this is a Showbiz segment right here on the AM show. Now, I had a very lovely conversation with rapper Tick. He used to be known as TikTok, and we spoke a lot about him, being a musician, being a board member of GAMRO, and also about his project, which is the Tick Dream Project, which is to support rape victims. There's more in this interview.
I go make you fine. Another way to find, baby. So spiritual, like magical. If you give me your Twitter, girl, I promise to follow.
So you're good, right?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, yes, I'm okay.
There are no shows. You don't get to perform for your fans, and
no, I am worried. But of course, what can one do? I mean, this is beyond our control, and so you can only try to survive by making sure that you do other stuff just to keep you going. I have been recording a lot lately, and of course, even though I have a food business, I still make time for my recordings and stuff.
Have you ever thought of connecting with your fans via a virtual concert or anything of that sort?
I mean, during this corona times, I am somebody who do not normally go live on social media, but I've gone on live a few times to interact with my fans. Yeah. I call it the Tech Connect on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. So that's what I've been doing, and we connect. I've been able to help a lot of people. Yeah. I supported a lot of people with over 10,000 Ghana cedis. Connecting with the fans wouldn't just be performing to the fans. Yeah, exactly. How are you helping the fans in these difficult times?
Is that what the Tech Dream Project is? What is the Tech Dream Project?
No, the Tech Dream Project is strictly for people that have come victim for rape. The idea was a dream. You know, I had a dream, and in my dream, I was asked to use my image, use my clouds to solicit for funds to support people in need when they've been raped. So there are a lot of people, due to the economic situation, or a lot of people who are in Ghana are not financially sound. And for that matter, they go through a lot of complications when they break. And it's something that is worrying, because in the dream, the idea was to make sure that I could touch a lot of lives, people in situations like that. And so when I got up, I discussed it with my team, and it was difficult because we live in an environment whereby everything you do, whether it's positive, most importantly, and you are asking people to support. From my position, it's a bit difficult. But I mean, looking at what the dream was telling me is like me sacrificing a lot to make sure that others, are happy. Yeah. And I thought that was very important. It made a lot of sense. And so I decided to do it, and that is why we tagged it the Tech Dream Project. Okay,
I now get it. Yeah. Right. But how far with donations now? Because the last I checked on the same flyer, it was around 220 or something. You put it out there.
No, the first time it started as a conversation, and I put it on my status, and I got a friend to donate 20 Ghana cedi. So instead of 2 Ghana cedi, we got 20 Ghana cedi. Okay, yeah. And I was like, wow, it's amazing. And as I speak to you, the first 4 days, we raised 220 Ghana cedi just by people dropping as little as 2 cedis, 1 cedi, 3 cedi, 20 cedi. And then as I speak to you now, we have about 2,100 Ghana cedis. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I had this dream just about almost 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Right.
And you've got over 2,000 Ghana cedis within just 2 weeks. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Right.
Yeah, but I would want to know, do you know anybody who's been a victim of rape?
Yes. I know a girl who was working for me for my pizza restaurant at Genex Pizza that was raped by 5 men, 4 to 5 men. So she was gang raped, and she had a lot of situation. Of course, she didn't have enough money, so I had to personally support her. Even that, I did not still have the feeling or the idea to go out there and even advocate. I didn't have it until I had the dream. So the dream is what pushed me, to connect with all that has happened or I have known of in terms of people being raped. Yeah. And it's sad. It's very sad.
It's rather unfortunate, and I am very sorry about that. But let's move to your music and you as a musician. You rebranded from TikTok to Tick, and I would want to know how that has, impacted your brand.
I've always been Tick. TikTok is Tick. They call me without not thinking that they are calling me Tick. And for me, even from my first album, most of the names I used in recording the song were tick, because to say tic-tac was like too long sometimes.
Okay. And
a lot of people will cut it short and say Brad Tick. You know, Ghanaians always like to have a short form for every name.
Yeah.
You know. So I thought, let me make it official. So when you call me Tick, it's more official.
Now, your song with Kelvin Boy, Guru. It's a very nice song, but what inspired the whole song? What's the idea?
So Guru should be a perfect exchange of the past, where people exchange Guru with even a bride. You know, if you're going to marry, you know, people will take Guru to their house in the north, you know, a very expensive Guru, and that would be a perfect exchange. So I'm trying to use that to implicate modern times where people are exchanging stuff for love, and what are they really exchanging?
You
know.
Yeah, so that was tic-tac, and before I came on, he was talking about his new song, his song with Kelvin Boy, and that's Guru. But there's more Showbiz at midday with Becky. Don't miss that one. But that's all I have for you for this morning. Roland?
Well, definitely. But for now, we have to say that we're grateful that all of us have been able to join some great times right here on the show. But make sure you keep it coming. More of your messages on our social media platforms for the rest of the day. So we meet on Monday, 6 to 9. We have to say that they should enjoy the great weekend, right?
Yeah, you should. You should.
Bye-bye.
Have a great one.